Welcome to Poplar Prepper. I am shooting this video in an improvised shelter that someone built at a park near my old home, and they did a fairly good job. They just need to seal it up, obviously. But I brought you to this park, this beautiful park. As you can see, just gorgeous trees, pine trees. Can't help but love this park quite a bit. But I'm going to be talking to you about something that's a little rougher. So that's a fair warning going in. I'm going to be talking about hostage situations. I'm going to be talking about difficult situations like that. I have received training from very experienced people over the years. I'm not going to be giving you everything. I'm going to be giving you open source information. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks, what to expect in a hostage situation. Hopefully you are never in such a situation. How to think your way through it. I'm going to give you some tips on interrogation resistance, which is useful. It's useful for a lot of things. I'm going to teach you some things that are suggested that I won't recommend, such as how to lie during interrogation. Like I said, I'm not going to recommend that. I'm going to give you alternatives and help you kind of think through interrogation, hostages, and such. All right, so the beginning of the situation is don't be a hero. I know a whole bunch of you are like, if I get in that situation, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to do all these things. Sure you are. Highly experienced professionals, maybe. People who have been trained a lot, maybe. But most people think they can do far, far more than what they can do. They think that they can disarm people faster than they can. They think that they can jump, kick, do all sorts of things that they can't do. And in a escape scenario, you need to pad your numbers significantly. Things will go wrong. You need to be so sure that you can pull off your escape before you try. That's not to say you shouldn't try. You should try. But you need to have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed, and not going off half-cocked, except under certain circumstances. Now, there are three main stages of being a hostage that you need to be aware of. This goes for international, this goes for in the US, whatever. And they're called different things depending on who you're listening to. But the first one is the taking stage. This is where there's a battle of wills, there's a battle of weapons and everything, where they are trying to establish dominance over you. This is where they are trying to convince you that you are now a hostage. They will threaten you with weapons, and depending on how you respond, you can receive grave bodily injury due to this. Now, there's a time to resist and there's a time to comply. And in this stage, you have to decide very quickly which it is. What I want you to do is think about this. Most people are going to be thinking fight or submit. It is harder to think about the idea of escape. And especially when you have loved ones in your group that are being taken, but escape, if it's possible, should be your number one option. If you are in a conflict or something like that and you're armed and everything like that, and you're supposed to be in conflict, that's a different story. But I'm speaking to civilians here. I'm speaking to people that didn't expect to be in this situation. Your home gets invaded. People come, right? If they come at you, one of the things you should probably have a baseline is that they probably have enough force and capabilities to subdue you and the other people with you. They probably entered into the situation with some awareness of your capabilities, some awareness of what you may have, and they are probably prepared. So know that before you start to resist. You need to rapidly assess your situation and rapidly figure out what to do. And it's very difficult. You should have a bias towards compliance and not resistance. Unless you have some way of really strongly resisting, you should at least act compliant so as to throw them off your guard. People who are not compliant are going to get focus of attention and are going to get potentially harmed. So, compliance should be your de facto setting while you try to figure out how to escape. If it becomes apparent that they don't have enough force to take you and the others with you, if you have a boomstick on you, if you have training and such, and I mean real training, folks, you need to be able to assess where you are with all that. But the taking stage, this is where you decide whether or not you're a hostage, and you need to make that decision, and this decision has severe consequences for all involved. After this, there is a kind of a crisis stage, some people call it, others call it the transport stage. This is where they are going to move you to a location where they can control your situation. This may take days if you're in other countries or whatever, where they shove you in a van and take you somewhere. The easiest stage to escape in is the taking stage. The next easiest is in the transport stage. You should be looking for opportunities to get out in the transport stage. They are moving you because they do not feel safe and confident where they are. So that means you have a little bit of an advantage there that you're going to lose when you get to wherever you're headed. And what are their goals and designs for you? That's another question. You need to kind of assess that, try to figure out who they are, what their goals are. And then they're going to move you into the accommodation stage. And in this stage is where you are where they want you to be. But there are some advantages here. Here, they're going to settle into a routine. And when there's a routine, you're going to have some advantages of being able to figure out what's going on, when's it going to happen. You can start seeing what schedules there are, when there are weak points. You can start examining your surroundings, looking for escape points. Plan, gather resources, and make some good choices. Once again, over-plan. Make sure you have plenty of margin in your plan because, folks, you only get one chance at it. Now, some of you may be saying, why are you emphasizing so much on escape? Because given real-world situations, being rescued is a very bad option. You do not want to be rescued as a hostage because there's a significant portion of times people get rescued that they end up on the ground bleeding out. That's the simple fact. If you get rescued, it's a desperate situation and you're in a very bad place. And your hostage rescuers, if they know anything at all, which if they're like Western militaries, they do. If they're non-Western militaries, they may not be so focused in on your survival as on the eradication of the people that are taking you. This is some other countries that's their focus. If they rescue you, great. If they just eradicate the people that took you, make sure this never happens again, they still accomplish their mission, which is bad for you. So, hostage situations, you don't want to be rescued. Escaping has a much higher proportion of success if you know what you're doing. Again, disarming people. And as soon as you touch a boomstick, as soon as you touch a firearm, you are now a target. As soon as you pick up a weapon, this has become a life and death struggle, and your life is now in jeopardy. If you can escape without touching a weapon, you should do that, because that at least means you might have an attempt number 2 if you do get caught. As soon as you harm them, as soon as you pick up a weapon, you are now a combatant, and your life expectancy has dropped significantly. So be aware of that before you pick up a weapon. You stop being a harmless resource, and you suddenly are now a combatant. So know that before you pick up any weapons. And finally, a lot of these things get solved through hostage negotiations. through payments, ransoms, and that's actually one of the optimal situations for you. It's better survivability than it is for being bought is a lot safer than you trying to escape, and it's a lot safer than you being rescued. So hopefully you have negotiators of one sort or another that are on the process of getting you out, and you should hope for that. All right, we've talked about some hard things so far, but let's talk about what you can do as a hostage to increase your survivability. Things that you can do to increase your survivability: you need to humanize yourself. A lot of times they will put bags over your head or do other things to dehumanize you so that the hostage takers won't listen to you, won't feel compassion for you. You need to try to undo those as much as possible. If you have a bag over your head, friends, you need to get that bag off. Any way, shape, or form. You need the people who are guarding you to see your face, look you in the eye. Now, don't make a challenging eye contact. Act submissive, but you need them to feel that you are a human being. That will make it a lot harder for them to off you. And if you make a move, it will cause them to hesitate. If they see you as an object, they won't hesitate. So humanize yourself. Women, like I said, I'm going to be dealing with some difficult topics here. Make yourself as least attractive as you possibly can, especially in places where there's no rule of law. You may be a target of assault, and because of that, you need to do whatever you can to make yourself smell and look as bad as possible. Mess up your hair. If you can go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. In your pants, do it. This can significantly decrease your attractiveness to people who may want to harm you. This is in the book, friends. Do whatever you can to make yourself less of a target, make yourself look more helpless, but make it so that people don't want to deal with you. If you can escape, if you can show yourself unable to be transported, that is another strategy out there. It's a riskier strategy. If they don't think that they can take you, they may end you. So be aware of that. You have to read people, you have to read their intentions, understand what they're doing, and then take calculated risks. Other things you can do. You need to gather information. Gather information as fast and all over the place, anything you can. That's one of the reasons why you want the bag off your head, is so you can gather information. Learn your captors. Learn their names if you can. Learn who they are. Name them yourself if you need to. Don't use their name, your funny name for them, but know the differences between your captors. Know who is more reluctant to use force on you. Notice who is more apt to use force on you. Know who seems to be more competent and who seems to be less competent. This is information that you need. Try to figure out your surroundings. What's around, what's outside of where you're being held, and what you can do about that. Resources, gather resources whenever you can. Basic necessities, water. If you get offered something to drink, drink it. If you get offered some food, don't overthink it. Just eat and drink whenever you can, because you may not get another chance. I don't care how disgusting or whatever it is, just do it. Do it. You need to survive, and you need your strength. That will increase your capability of surviving. It will increase your capability of being able to escape in the future. So with all those thoughts, basic necessities, take them whenever you can. I already talked about as soon as you touch a weapon, you have changed your category, and things will go either a lot better or a lot worse for you from then on forward. If other people do not have weapons, stand away from them, because if you get offed, if they're not holding weapons, they may still be treated as non-combatants. So think about other people around you too. Communicate as best you can with each other, but some of these things you need to communicate beforehand. You need to have these conversations beforehand so that other people know what you're thinking, what your objectives are, what you're trying to do. Now this leads directly into interrogation resistance. If you get taken, they will probably want to get information out of you. Now, some of these are going to hold fast for if you get taken by the police. Obviously in the United States and other places where you have the right to do so and they're not supposed to use force on you, silence is the best strategy. Now, if you get taken by people who are not following the law, you may not have that option. They may hurt you or threaten to hurt you or threaten to hurt others in ways that will make you speak. Also, it may be where you're not sure if you're being fully detained. If they're not following the rules, if you remain silent, this may go badly for you and you may need to say something. So, silence is a good option. It makes the interrogators work harder. But realize this, if your interrogators have freedom to do whatever they want to do, and they have time and any measure of competency, you will break. I don't care what you've seen in the movies. I don't care what you've been told by politicians. That is just stupid. You will talk, and you will be forced to either do one of two things: tell the truth or lie. Tell truth that you don't want to tell, or lie about the truth that you don't want to tell. Now, as a Christian, as a person of conscience, I don't believe that you should ever lie. So I'm not going to recommend this. I am going to pass along information that is widely passed around, all right? When you lie, it must be as short and simple as possible. No long story. This is not a battle of minds. This is a battle of wills. And you must shut your mouth and say as little as possible. Your lie should be simple, and you should keep repeating it. You should have no variations whatsoever in that lie. If you get caught in a variation, they have just been given a tool to crack you open. Whether that's physically, mentally, or just mindfulness-wise, all right? So do not ever get caught in a lie. And that's the easiest way to do that is don't lie. Tell the truth. Tell just the truth. Now, one of the things that we need to be aware of too is, like I said, if they have the freedom, if they have the resources, and they have, or the time, and they have any competency whatsoever, they will crack you open. They will break your will. It's just a matter of time. How long? How long until you break? If they're asking you for locations of other people, names of other people, information that's going to compromise and put other people in danger, that's probably going to come out of you at some point. So just be aware of that. Psychologically, you will break if you get detained by the U.S. government and they're not playing by the police rules. You will break. If you're in the police custody, get your lawyer in there as soon as possible and stay silent. That is strongly advised. If you don't have that option, this is the tool that I was taught. What you need to do is you need to visualize what you're going to talk about as kind of a box. There are some things outside this box that you cannot talk about, and you're going to resist talking about them. But you don't want to let on what those things are, things that you think will endanger other people. What you want is kind of your home base, a box within the box. This is your short, truthful statement. If you are not bound by morality or ethics, this may be a short lie, a short statement. I'm just here as, I'm just a tourist here. I'm just a tourist. I came here to see the Notre Dame, the Cathedral of Notre Dame. That's a short, truthful statement, potentially, that you're going to use. Now, were you there for other reasons as well? Possibly. But that's what you're going to stick with. Now, if it's a lie, like I said, keep it as short. You must sum it up quickly, factually, with as few details as possible, and you're going to keep returning back to home base. There are other things in your box that you can talk about, other things that you feel comfortable that really aren't going to compromise you, maybe your history, the story of your life, what you do for a living. All these things can go in the box that are not going to compromise or harm other people. So, may humanize you. You can talk about the other things in the box. If they ask follow-up questions on those things, fine, talk about them. As soon as they try to go outside the box, go back to your short, truthful statement or your short statement. Go back to it. I don't understand why you're doing this. I'm just here as a tourist. I wanted to see the Cathedral of Notre Dame. Short statement, go back to it, use it as your shield, and then start working your way back out into the box topics. Circle around, go after it again. Now, like I said, if they have freedom, if they have time, they're going to break you. And quite frankly, if someone has full freedom, they're going to break you very quickly. Once they start threatening things, crossing red lines, you will have red lines. You need to think about this beforehand. But whether it's torture, whether it's threatening the life of someone who's with you, if they threaten to kill one of your children or your wife or someone else on your team, and you believe that they're going to carry it out, you're probably going to talk. And that's okay. That's the reality of it. If they don't have any limits to their freedom, they can break you relatively quickly. And that's the truth. Now, can you throw them off guard? Is that a time where you should lie? That's between you and your God. But I would say that short, truthful statements and trying my best to avoid that would be my go-to. In a situation like that, would I ever lie? I hope not. But you and I, most of us have never been in such a situation. So hard to say. But think through, what are your red lines? What will you do? What will you break on? What will you not break on? And if possible, talk to your teammates, talk to your spouse, talk to other people with you about where you will break. Because it would be a shame for them to know that you are about to break and for them to keep resisting under pain of torture or extreme discomfort. Also, you have to assess this. Once you lie or once you tell the truth, do they have any reason to keep you alive? That's another question you need to ask yourself. It may be painful, it may be awful, but withholding that fact or information may be the only thing keeping you alive. So you need to judge and assess your situation with that as well. Like I said, this is chock full of rough stuff, rough conversations, rough thoughts. A lot of you probably don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about this. Silence is best if you can. If you must speak, try to think of your box and then your box within the box. Go back to your box within the box, your short, truthful statement, your baseline. Keep repeating that. Well, where are the people in your team? I don't understand why you're asking me these questions. I'm just a tourist. I came here to go see the Cathedral at Notre Dame. It should flow off your tongue. It should sound true. It should ideally be true. And you can keep circling back to that. And they say, we want to talk to you about your team. I just don't understand what you guys are talking about. I'm just here. See, I didn't just say I don't have a team. I did just kind of imply that I don't have a team by focusing in on me and keep repeating your statement. Play dumb. as best you can. Pretend like you can't quite understand them and answer the questions that you want to answer. When they ask you a question, you can pretend that that question is a different question and answer that question that you want to answer. Give them information that may seem valuable to them, but may not be valuable to them. Talking about stuff, but once again, when you talk, make sure you're telling the truth. This goes for whether you're lying or not. When you're talking about something that's in your outer box, always tell the truth. Because when they cross-examine you, and experienced interrogators will do this, they will then get you talking and keep you talking, and then try to trip you up, try to contradict, get you to contradict what you just said. All right? Even apparent contradictions can get you in hot water and can put you on the defensive. It is a battle of wills, not minds. If you think you can outsmart them, you're wrong. Really, you are wrong. You are not thinking straight. You are dehydrated. You are malnourished. You're injured. You're under high stress. You will not be thinking straight. So shut your mouth and speak truth and as little of it as you possibly can. And when you speak, make sure it's the truth and make sure that it agrees with what you've said before. And the easiest way to do that is just keep telling the truth. Hopefully some of these thoughts have been useful to you. I didn't come up with these things. These have been handed down. Now, there are probably some people, I know there are some people in our community that have experience as interrogators, and their perspective on this is different, but I think you'll find that they'll say that that these tips probably are helpful. But being on the receiving end of interrogation, you have a very bad set of cards in your hand. If you have constitutional protections, then you're in much better shape. But if you don't have those constitutional protections, if your opponents are free to do whatever they want to do, and they have the will to do it, you're toast. It's just a matter of delaying. If people that you know have been taken hostage, do not think they would never tell. They will tell. The question is how long before they break. So friends, if you may be compromised by other people who have been taken hostage or taken by authorities and such, you need to move. You need to get out of there as fast as possible because you don't know how many hours you have before they give up the information on your location or on you. So you need to start moving right now. So think through those things, be aware of those things, and hopefully this has been helpful to you to start thinking through some of these things, that you can ask questions, have conversations with your family members, and think through some of this stuff. I know it's hard, but it's a lot easier to think through in the abstract than it is in the situation where you may find yourself. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from Poplar Prepper, there's one right there on the screen. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Poplar Prepper out.